No. Renee, are you ready? In that case, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this morning's meeting of the Architectural Review and Planning Board of Thursday, November the 16th, 2023. Renee, please, can you call to order?
Yes.
Sorry,
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Power?
Yes.
Mr. Roach?
Here.
Vice Chairman Doherty?
Here.
Chairman Murphy?
Here.
Let it also be known that in attendance today is Town Manager Dunham, Assistant Town Attorney Nazaro, and myself.
Thank you. And I hope you've all had a chance to read the minutes of the meeting of October the 26th. Are there any comments, changes? Otherwise, could I have a motion for approval, please?
Make a motion to delay or dispense with the reading of the minutes.
I'll second that.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Power?
Yes.
Mr. Roach?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Doherty?
Yes.
Chairman Murphy?
Yes. Are there any additions, withdrawals, deferments, or changes to the agenda items? No? Okay. And we have the dates as the year races towards an end. Seeing 2024 there. Please, as usual, if you're not available for those dates, can you let Renee know as soon as possible so she can plan accordingly? Thank you. We now move on to the public hearing part of this morning's meeting. And can I ask if there's been any ex parte communication?
No.
Thank you. Renee, please will you administer the oaths to anyone who wishes to speak this morning?
Yeah, raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Thanks, Renee. And with that, we moved on to the first application of this morning, which is Lot 4.
Yes.
Good morning, board members. Sorry to be here. Hope the repeat performance is brief. I think that for the record, Kerry Glickstein for Blue Water Cove LLC. We've met with staff, took your comments to heart, and I think we've got all of those comments addressed. And with that, I'd like to introduce the architect, Luis Rivera with Affinity, and the landscape architect, Luis Valajos, to answer your questions and make their presentations. Thanks for your time.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Luis Rivera, Affinity Architects. And I want to start broadly with all three lots that we're presenting today. On the last meeting, we talked about the comments that the main comments you guys had that were sort of universal on all three were regarding the exterior privacy garden walls that were 6 feet. We brought all of those on all 3 to 4 feet to comply with the code. Another broad universal comment was the colors of the houses were similar to the ones that units that are being built as we speak. Those have been addressed. All the colors have been changed. There's now more contrast between the new models versus the existing models, and contrast within itself in terms of colors and all that stuff. The third comment was the massing of the three models. Your comment was that it was too similar to the existing models that are being built. That has also been addressed by changing the massing of all three new models. And with that being said, now I can start with lot 4, which is the Anglo-Caribbean style. For this model, this one was very similar to lot 14. It was the same style. It had that beautiful entry. This is across the street from that lot, but now we change the front entry was eliminated. We changed it, the roof profile. Now we have gables on all sides on the main roof. The entry is a little more subdued compared to the other one, but we think this design differs enough from the original that that we believe that it complies with your comment. Now, we also changed, obviously, the colors. Now we have more contrast. That was one of the comments as well. The roof color is different from the original version. So as you drive down the street, you won't ever believe or perceive that they are the same style or house, for lack of a better word. Now, the other comment that was universal was on all three lots, you commented that the pathways to the front door, that the landscape was too similar to the original models. We reworked all of that. All the pathways now are more organic. Each lot has a different pathway from driveway to front door and to street. And landscape, as the landscape architect will elaborate more on that, but it has been all reworked on all three models. So they're completely different from what's being built and completely different from each other now. Another thing we did is, I believe we did have shutters on all sides on this one, although it's not necessarily required, but we complied on all houses now have shutters on all sides, which was one of your comments, although some of them don't require it per the code, but we did anyway to be consistent with the styles that are around. Any questions?
I'd like to, first of all, congratulate you on the pathways. It just changes the look.
Very nice.
Remember, we said we wanted to get
Yes.
away from this sameness, this cookie cutter.
Yeah.
And I'd like to congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
I do have one question.
Mhm.
Well, I have one question. The privacy wall
Mhm.
down to 4 feet.
Mhm.
On the landscape plan, do you have a height for the vegetation there? Because I'm sorry, I'm putting my simple hat on. If someone's having a
This would be
shower,
more
and then-
vegetation around the. Do you know the height?
it's just I couldn't see the height of the vegetation.
It's going to be around 5 foot and we'll maintain it around 6 to 7.
Right, and then
Okay.
it's a pretty basic question, but not many people are 4 feet who have a shower.
Oh,
And I couldn't see any way of walking, the
I
elevations.
apologize for that.
No, it's fine.
We didn't change it because previously we had the 6
Yeah.
foot wall. My apologies.
Yeah.
We'll make this,
No, there's no make. It's
we'll
just,
make sure that we change that.
yeah, it's just on the
Okay.
vegetation plan. I couldn't see the heights of the,
Okay.
if someone's there having a shower.
There will definitely be privacy there for people sharing.
Okay, that's my question. Well, with
I
that,
think you guys did a great job listening, so thank you.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think
Reflecting
that's
that
come
here.
over.
It's very nice to see, so thank
very
you.
clear.
Yeah, I did a comparison with that. Everyone
Yeah.
kept their old notes
Yep.
and we compared and it's a good job.
Landscape wise, I just want to comment there, due to the changes to the elevations allowed us to provide, difference. But also when we redesigned the walkways, it gave us an opportunity to change the landscape to a more natural look, and so forth. And of course, it's not visible, but we make a point that every unit has at least an 80% variety difference, in plant materials themselves, whether it be trees, shrubs, whatever. That said, I think we definitely have achieved a variety here.
Thank you. Well, if there's no more questions, could I ask? for-
I've got one quick question.
Curtis?
Did you use any native plants?
Yes, yes, we have throughout. Number one, clusia hedge, that we're using on the properties. Then as far as ground covers and so forth, carissa, some cocoa plum, that kind of stuff. But the majority of the trees are hollies and some gumbo limbo, some silver buttonwoods, the oaks, which are the street trees and so forth, trees and so forth are, I would say, approximately 70% native. And if they're not native, the majority of stuff, we have a certain list, we call it indigenous. They're just as good as the native plants, and over the years, being a Florida resident, we also make sure that they're also kind of wind and hurricane proof
What's the
for the
difference?
majority.
What's the difference between indigenous and native? Just
It's really just the name. A lot of these indigenous plants were brought in South Florida years ago. They've done well. You know, the native name, a lot of municipalities allow us to use indigenous as, and as part of the Florida list that list them as indigenous.
so I'm indigenous. If I wasn't born.
That's right. That's right. But
Not
you
native.
weren't born in Florida, right? Yes. Similar.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, but it just attracts more
It's
butterflies.
it's better for
Oh, of course.
No, the environment, the whole.
Yes.
Which we try and promote. Thank you.
comparison, I'm native, you're indigenous.
Carry on. I know you're native.
I think I'm an invasive.
Yeah, in a whole other part of the planet.
Sorry about that. Any questions? Otherwise, could we have a motion, please?
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve a level 3 architectural site plan based on a finding that the construction of a 5,462 square foot Anglo-Caribbean one-story single-family dwelling with a 2-car garage and swimming pool meets the minimum intent of the design manual and applicable review standards with the following conditions. Any minor modifications to the approved landscaping shall be submitted to the town manager for review and approval, and any major modification shall be brought back to the ARPB for review and approval prior to commencement of the landscaping.
I'll second that.
Mr. Green,
Yes.
Mrs. Power.
Yes.
Mr. Roach,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Dougherty.
Yes.
Chairman Murphy.
Yes. And now we move on to, since with a sense of deja vu, we
Yeah.
move on to lot 13.
Yes. Lot 13 is the Georgian home. And that one was the one that was different from the existing homes that
Yeah,
are.
I think you
were
called it a
being-
new style being introduced
Correct.
as a fourth model.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, the only comments that you had on this one were, again, the colors,
Yep.
which have been reworked for the roof, for the shutters, for the stucco and the trim. The landscape, again, has been reworked, same with the driveways. And all the other, what I call universal comments have been addressed, which are the walls and the shutters and such. Again, this was the new style that we introduced. So there's no other home in that area with that same style. So this is the most unique one. Okay. And that's
Do you think you'll build another Georgian?
possibly, yeah.
Good.
Being designed right now.
Excellent. Good.
Questions?
Got the more formal sidewalk, I guess.
Yeah, this one is
Yep.
the one
And
that
that's-
is straight. We wanted to keep it more traditional.
Like it.
In that case, if there aren't any more questions, please could I have a motion? Could we have a motion, sorry?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve a level 3 architectural style, architectural site plan based on a finding that the construction of a 5,464 square foot Georgian one-story single-family dwelling with a 2-car garage and swimming pool meets the minimum intent of the design manual and applicable review standards with the following conditions. Any minor modification to the approved landscaping shall be submitted to the town manager for review and approval, and any major modification shall be brought back to the ARPB for review and approval prior to the commencement of the landscaping.
Second that.
Mr. Green,
Yes.
Mrs. Power.
Yes.
Mr. Roach,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Dougherty.
Yes.
Chairman Murphy.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
And now on to lot 12.
Lot 12 is, again, it has the same universal comments. And we reworked every pathway from garage to driveway. We make this one more organic so that it varies. This style is the West Indies, which we have a home that is being built that is a 2-story version. This one we changed the colors, changed the, obviously it's a 1-story. One of the other comments that you had was the half elevation. This one, on your half elevation diagram, it just shows like a flat. You're trying to break everything out. Our model, as you can see, it has depth from the front element to, it goes back to the other element, and then on the garage and bedroom, it's brought out, extends out. So it breaks, there is no half elevation occurring in our home.
And the fact that you put a curve on this pathway makes it different.
Correct.
Not just the positioning of it, but
Yes.
yeah, it makes such a difference in the landscape.
Yeah.
Any comments? The points in the,
Yeah.
the points that
Yes,
were raised have been addressed.
Okay, I will make a motion to approve a level 3 architectural site plan based on a finding that the construction of a 5,461 square foot West Indies 1 style single-family dwelling with a 2-car garage and swimming pool meets the minimum intent of the design manual and applicable review standards with the following condition. Any minor modification to the approved landscaping shall be submitted to the town manager for review, and approval of any major modification shall be brought back to the ARPB for review and approval prior to commencement of the landscaping.
Second.
Mr. Green,
Yes.
Mrs. Power.
Yes.
Mr. Roach,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Doherty,
Yes.
Chairman Murphy.
Yes. Thank you for addressing those points so
Thank you.
clearly.
Have a good one.
Two things quickly. We're having a bit of a kind of a, for lack of a better description, a grand opening today. All of the residents of Plaza Soleil were invited. It's kind of a thank you for your patience, and I'd like to extend that to the board members. It's from 5 to 7 this afternoon. No marching bands, no fireworks, but it'll be a nice gathering of people who were involved, and that extends, of course, to all town staff. And lastly, I wish you all very happy Thanksgiving, and thanks for your
Kerry,
comments.
I've got one quick question. How were people invited?
Thousands.
No, millions, great.
No.
In Plaza Soleil.
Everybody in Plaza Soleil, the real email list.
You didn't get it?
You know, sometimes those things aren't the most reliable.
Yeah, no worries. It's just that I didn't get it for a start.
Okay, I did speak to some that,
Yeah.
my friends there
And
did.
thank you for reaching out. I just wondered what, channel you'd used.
So
That's a
that I
great
can't
idea,
answer.
Gary.
Constant contact.
And the elephants and zebras will be arriving later.
Yeah, just, they'll start here at Town Hall, but
Okay.
anyway, so Malcolm, if you've got a distribution list, it's from 5 to 7 today. I sent it to staff.
Thanks.
They could forward it to you and you could
That's great.
forward it out.
Okay.
Anyway, have a
Thank you
nice
for that.
holiday.
Thank you.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. And
What kind of writing is that?
let's just let
Which one is this? This is, well, I'll talk to you later.
Thank you. And
The school.
late. And so we now go on to the fourth application presented to us this morning. And we invite that to start now.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good
morning.
Good morning, Gray.
Karen, you want to?
Sure. So we're here requesting permission to install a sport court at the north end of Armour Field on the currently existing field that we extended after putting in this new retaining wall. We just completed this project about a month ago, I think, and we now have some extra space back there. And overall, ideally, we'd really like to get our basketball court out of our parking lot and move it to the field where it just makes more sense. So this is kind of existing. You'll see here, this is our kids playing in the parking lot. Not wonderful. We'd love to get our parking spots back and stop having balls run under the vehicles and such. So move it there. And then this is just an overview of the existing Armour Field and kind of the empty lot that we have right now, because we haven't done anything with it because we're working on getting all of our ducks in a row to finish it off. And that's where the sport court would go. This is just some information that I wanted to present on the sport court that we're looking at. It's environmentally friendly. It allows for the kids to have a safe space to play, obviously less abrasive than a parking lot, less scraped knees and such. It'll absorb some of the sound of the kids while they're on there. And it's just wanted to provide that for information. This is some renderings that we had done of what that would look like, providing full court. They could play half court as well. And then we would be able to, if we wanted, to maybe put up a volleyball net and the kids, because we have volleyball as one of our sports at school. So if we wanted to split the kids up between the gym and the field, or if they just wanted to go out at lunchtime and at recess and practice, they could do that there as well. This is just some pictures of the existing foliage that blocks the area from the neighbors. Obviously, you can't even see the houses behind there. And actually, this is a view from the neighbor on the north side looking over to the sport court. So you can't even see the kids over there. This is the same view from their yard looking over. They wouldn't even be able to see the kids or the court as it exists currently. And then I just wanted to let everyone know that I did go over to the neighbors that are immediately behind the wall, Mrs. Burke, and I went to the Wilkins home. I actually did speak to Mrs. Burke. She was lovely and said, well, we have the playground. It's not a problem for me. But Mr. Wilkins is not home. So I left both of them this letter explaining what we were trying to do with my business card and saying, please contact me if you have any questions or concerns. I did not hear from either of them, but we did want to just approach them personally and let them know what we were doing and get any feedback from them if they had any. We have not heard anything since that or the other letters went out to the town.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Questions?
I would make a point, you don't let them get into pickleball on the court.
No.
No pickleball.
Okay.
We understand that.
Yep.
We are 100% clear. No
I know it's getting so popular.
Yes,
Yeah.
no, we wanted to just provide what they already are doing at school, basketball,
Fabulous.
volleyball.
Should have done it years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be amazing. We can do it.
So is that the only location that you guys can put that? Because it's a basketball court. It's going to be very loud. The Wilkins house is it's loud as is in both of those houses. And I recognize that, the other houses that abut the property are school property. So there's really no neighbors to be concerned about, but it does seem like that is going to be extremely noisy by comparison to where things are today.
I can say that it won't be noisier than the playground currently is, and the kids actually use the playground all day. Our kids will only use this probably 2 times or maybe 3 times a day for about 3 hours.
Well, I think there's a difference between the children playing and laughing and yelling than the bonk, 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 bonk of a basketball going incessantly. You guys know I have 2 boys. So is there anywhere else on the property that you've considered putting it?
We did, but there's no place that we can put it. Like, we looked at other areas and it doesn't fit, or
That the other end of the field doesn't
it
fit closer
pushes,
to the
if we were
school?
to do that, which we looked at, first we have some drainage issues, but also it pushes the field too far, where the middle of the field, like the spectators wouldn't be able to get to the field. Like, it would be all pushed in the wrong direction and it really wouldn't make sense for the way the field is set up for play and for watching. And that's there was only that one spot and it just didn't make sense when we looked at it. Again, I can say that this will be during the day. There's no nighttime play on it. It'll be during school hours. And like I said, it's a recess in the morning, a recess in the afternoon. And
Yeah, the kids have hour recess.
Yeah, I think overall it's like an hour and 45
And,
minutes.
maybe if we use it from time to time to hold a practice, take some additional kids out there during practice time, that would be, maybe another hour, but that would be rare if we would use it for practice purposes.
So can we confirm it's not being let out to groups, people to come in to use it?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely,
It's completely within school hours.
absolutely.
What's the latest in that after school, after post-curricular? What's the latest you envisage it being played?
Our after-school program dismisses at 4:15.
Okay, because that brings me on to one question I have. In where it is at the moment, I presume that the lighting can be used in December, January. Do you use that? And there's
We
no,
don't ever turn on the
No.
lights in the parking lot. One, we actually need to get them worked on, but two, we only use them for events. So when there's parking, we don't ever turn them on for any kind of play at night.
right, and just, and there's no lighting at all?
There's no lighting at
No,
all.
there's no lighting.
So they wouldn't be able to play after dark.
Yeah, the parking lot lighting, we're working on repairing that at the moment anyway. It's not.
It's a big project.
It's on the list.
It's on the list of things
Very
to do.
long
It's taking a
list.
beating
Yeah.
there across from the ocean.
And just,
And you have talked to the neighbors
Yep.
and they all seem compatible with it.
We got
Yeah.
no,
I mean,
yeah, I mean, we did, I think one of our families heard from another family and said, you should have done this a long time ago. It's a great idea. They
Yeah.
said Mrs. Burke was lovely and said, thank you for coming by. And this is fine. And again, I couldn't speak to the Wilkins. They weren't home at the time,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
When
I
was
did leave
that
them
that you
over.
reached out? Just, I couldn't read the date on that letter that you sent it.
I did it last month, October 18th, I think was the
Okay.
date on the letter, when I knew we were gonna go through this process and before the letters from the town went out.
Yeah, everyone was noticed, 160 people, as a matter of fact, since it's the new 600 feet.
Wow, that's
and-
160 letters.
Yes,
So it could have been, okay.
yes. And we heard nothing except from the one individual who's here. He came by yesterday to look at the plans.
and just to confirm, this is a level 2. This stays.
Right, so this is, final decision will be made by the ARPB. And this is, typically would be a level 1 decided by the staff, but given the potential impact, we wanted to make sure that the public had notice of the application and could provide feedback.
Thank you. Thank you. Any comments from the public? Please. And if you can give your name, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is James Gammon. I live at 3851 North Ocean Boulevard, which is about 2 to 3 lots away from this project. I appreciate your concern about the pickleball and I appreciate your response. I just wonder if possibly some language could be added to the approval that obviously now we're not going to have pickleball, but 5 years in the future that it could not be changed for that purpose. The reason for my concern is that the dimensions of the sport cart are 44 feet by 70 feet. Well, the dimensions of a pickleball court, standard pickleball court, are also 44 feet by 20 feet. So they would fit, I guess. That was the reason for my concern, and hopefully you can ensure that we'll never have a pickleball court in that area.
That's understandable. I didn't know that. So I learned something new today, but we don't have plans to have any pickleball.
Right. I think we'd probably address that in terms of anything, the change of use has to come back. We could say any changes of use has to come back, but who knows what's going to be invented in the next 2, 3, 4 months, 5 years or whatever, which is even noisier than pickleball. So rather than being specific in terms of the activity, you're predominantly using it for basketball.
Volleyball. That's all we're asking.
Yeah. So I think,
Sure.
yeah, I think we have it on record that it will be used for basketball and volleyball. And if it was changed, it would have to come
It
back.
would have to be asked for additional.
Yeah, it would have to come back to the
Usage approval.
yeah.
So it would be my preference that we just approve it without any conditions and they can do whatever they want on it. I think that it's going to be hard to enforce a restriction on pickleball. We'd have a condition of approval that they would then violate in the future. I mean, it's going to be pretty complicated. Also, there are some other things in the future that, if we put a restriction on that they can't play pickleball, well, who knows what lurks around the corner. And then they could just as easily be doing that without any restriction. So I would just say that if we have an issue with the application, that we consider some alternatives in addressing it rather than placing really restrictive conditions on it that are then part of the record somewhere, and then it kind of gets lost in the shuffle, and 20 years later, there's, they're playing pickleball and,
Or laser tag or whatever it
sure.
is.
It would not be, it'd not be recorded against the property. It would just be something that's kind of in our file. Whether or not that's enforceable, I don't know, but I just, if we have an issue with the location, it seems to me, we have an issue with the location.
And also, one of the things
a
we
big-
yeah.
It's way too close to
Absolutely.
any contiguous property to have a pickleball court.
Yeah.
But if we could amend the motion to say for use as a basketball and volleyball court, if that's going to make you feel better, James. I don't think
that might
Gray would have a.
I don't have any objection to that.
Yeah, I think what Trey's saying is that it's difficult to enforce specific activities. And you're on record with your concerns. We always work on the good neighbor. And I think we have the best neighbors. And you're on record as saying what it's going to be used for. If you turn around and have the singing, dancing, bells, whistles, whatever, I think the town would be the first to hear from everybody. Right, so
So just leave the motion as is. Okay. Well, I'll make a motion to approve a 40.
Sorry, are there any more?
Yeah,
Sorry,
any
other,
sorry,
I don't know, I'm actually
Yeah.
in favor of Curtis's idea to at least express intent, although it doesn't handcuff them, but at least puts in the minutes the expression of intent in case someone wants to go back and read it and have a good neighbor. Although it's not legally binding, Trey, I would say, to your point, it at least expresses intent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because, 3 years from now, you could be the chairman of Princeton University, Gray, and then,
yeah.
okay, well, I'll make a motion to approve a 44 by 70 sport court at the north end of Armour Field to be used primarily for basketball and volleyball. Is that okay with you? Second?
Second,
Mr. Green,
yes.
Mrs. Power,
No.
Mr. Roach,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Doherty,
Yes.
Chairman Murphy.
Yes. With that,
Okay.
that's gone through. Thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation. As an aside, we do know where you live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
We now move on to items by staff.
Thank you, Chairman. We did have some additional changes come through from Lemon Hill, which is the project 1200 North Ocean Boulevard. It is a very large property with a number of minor accessory structures. So the additional changes this round primarily were to roof material. So previously the home was approved for a flat white concrete tile. The homeowner, however, recently visited a friend or relative in what I think is Bermuda and saw a cedar shake roof tile on a home there. And the consulted with his architect, and the architect said, yes, that would match the architectural style very well and be a perfect fit. Worth noting, the cedar shake roof will actually weather and patina to a weathered gray, almost silver. So the aesthetic change is minimal. And we do allow cedar shake roof tiles. He also adjusted some decorative accents on the primary structure and two of the minor accessory structures to have a copper roof, which is permitted under 70-99 roof design, sloping materials within the general architectural standards of the code. He also modified slightly some railings that we had updated you on last time. I think they were thinner, then they went to something that was opaque or essentially blocked the view. So now they're going to something that's in the middle. Again, nothing that we would need to burden the ARPB with bringing back, but just in full disclosure, we wanted to give you that update. We think that the changes are very consistent with the code and well done.
Is it the big one right here?
It is the large
Lemon Hill.
Lemon Hill, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, so they're going to put the copper, there is a percentage I recall on that.
So it is a decorative accent. So there is a very small I want to say garage. If you're looking at the front elevation, it is on the right-hand side. So I don't want to get mixed up, but if you're looking at the front elevation, essentially from the road, it is a very small building on the right-hand side. And then there is, I believe, what they called a tackle shed, which is very small, under 300 square feet. So fits the definition of minor accessory structure that they're putting. I don't think the whole roof, but a section of that, and then the pool copper, yes, and then like part of the pool house, which is hidden in the rear of the property. They're adding some copper elements there as well.
So Jacob, is, that's more a question, that was a famous architect, Marion Sims Wyeth, I believe, built in 19 wherever, 30. I guess it's interesting that that's allowed. I like cedar shake roofs very much, and they're very expensive.
I think that is primarily why we don't see more in town. It's just the cost, and it's my understanding that maybe they don't hold up as well with maintenance costs. Yeah, so it's just something.
Well, there's a fire issue also. With the insurance was up a little higher.
What's the thickness of the shake?
I don't know. Yeah.
JR is using it on his home.
Davis home at 588 Banyan.
Yeah.
And with that, that's it, Mr. Chairman.
Good, thank you.
Thanks, Trey. Items by board members.
No. Public?
We will note that Michael Green has been appointed to take Georgette's place
Oh,
as a,
congratulations.
remember, he was appointed at the last commission meeting.
There is. It's
2 cups of coffee instead of.
Right.
And just before I adjourn the meeting, I'd like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and thanks for all your efforts this year.
Likewise. You too.
And with that, meeting adjourned.
But this comes close to a record.
Now,